Here is the first draft of the magic circle, and I got it printed today so that we could do a short walkthrough, and I can describe how the process of rolling the bones works with a short combat scenario. So let me describe the bones to you first. There's three types. You have these bones, which they're shaped sort of like finger bones, and you use them for attacking. There's these bones here, which they're crow skulls, and we'd use them for defense. And these bones here are for dealing damage. So if we take a step back and look at the circle, you'll see that it's divided into 5 segments, and each segment represents a sign. When you bring a creature out into play, you have to assign it to one of these signs. And depending upon what your creature's sign is, he'll do more or less damage, or he'll be stronger or weaker against other creatures with different signs. So when we roll one of these bones here, we can see it's facing toward the warrior. Now, if your creature's sign was the warrior, that would be a very successful roll, so that would count as a 5. And if we roll it again, now it's facing towards death. So based upon if your creature being the warrior, going clockwise, that would represent a 2. So, and then those numbers will change based on what your creature's sign is. So if your creature was the rogue and it was facing towards death, that would count as a 1. Or if it was facing towards the warrior, it would count as a 4. In the middle of the circle, we have a set of spirals, and the spirals tell us how much damage the creature does to its opponent. So in each spiral, it starts out at the end here and spins around, and it'll go around and around through each segment until it gets to the center. So in the wizard segment, the wizard is at the top here, and in the dragon segment, the dragon is at the top. So depending upon what your sign is, you would refer to that sign and then find your enemy's sign and apply that much damage. So if you're a wizard and your tooth ends up facing the wizard, you're going to deal the most damage. If you're a wizard and it ends up facing the warrior, you're going to deal a little bit less damage. And if you're a wizard and you end up facing death, you're not going to deal any damage. I've printed off a couple of profiles here, and I'm just showing the stats that deal with close combat. There are more stats, but for the purposes of this demonstration, we only need to look at these. So here with the cat eater, we have an attack of 2, a defense of 8, a strength of 1, and it's equipped with a small weapon, and it has 2 skill points. I'll explain what this death sign means in a moment. When you roll to attack, you roll an amount of bones which are shown underneath the equipment, and that's because the type of weapon that a creature carries will help it either give more attacks, or it might increase the creature's strength or have some other benefit. So since the equipment is a small weapon, the weapon's pretty fast, so he can make more attacks with that. So it gets 3 attacks. The Wraith here has a medium weapons, but it's got 2 weapons, so we've also given it 3 attacks. The Wraith has 3 skill points, and that's because it's a more powerful creature. The more powerful the creature, the more skill points they'll have. So when you're rolling to hit, you roll your bones and you add up the values, and you add that to the creature's attack. And if that total meets or exceeds a creature's defense, you've scored a hit. When you're rolling for damage, you roll an amount of teeth equal to the creature's strength. So the cat eater would roll 1 damage, or 1 tooth, and the wraith would roll 2 teeth. In the game, some of the creatures will have a natural defense, and that will make them better at evading attacks, and it'll also make them more powerful when they're facing off against certain types of signs. So the cat eater has the death sign, which means when the enemy combatant rolls their bones, if any of the bones point towards death, the cat eater can remove 1 bone. These skill points give creatures a degree of flexibility in close combat. Normally, when you're attacking another creature, you have attack bones and you have damage bones. So what these skill points allow you to do is to increase the amount of bones you roll, or you can roll defense bones to increase your defense value and make it more difficult for your opponents to hit you. So this gives creatures a degree of flexibility and allows you to play aggressively or defensively depending upon the situation you find yourself in. Now we'll run through a quick round of close combat. We need to assign the creatures to a sign. So we'll give the cat eater the sign of the warrior, and we'll give the wraith the sign of the wizard. Now, next thing we do is allocate our skill points. So since the cat eater already has fairly high defense, we just want to increase our chances of hitting and the amount of damage we do, since the cat eater only has a strength of 1. So we spend 1 point to get an extra attack bone and another point to have an extra tooth. The wraith up here, he's got a fairly good attack, but we still want to make sure that he can manage to hit the cat eater. So we should spend our extra 2 points to increase the amount of attacks it gets. So we'll allocate our 2 attacks to attack bones. Alright, so we'll roll the cat eater first. And the easiest way to determine your results, especially if you're just starting out, is to just move the bone to the edge of the sign that it's pointing towards. So we'll just quickly move that there, this here, this one over here, and this one here. So we have a 5, a 4, and 2 2s. So that's 5, 9, and 13 all total up. So we add that 13 to the attack of 2, and that gives us a total of 15. So I'll put a bone there. And for damage, both of these bones are facing towards the cat eater, and his sign is the warrior. So we check the warrior sign here, and the opponent is the wizard. So we find the wizard right here. So each of these bones would deal 3 damage. So if the cat eater scores a hit, he's done a total of 6 damage to the wraith. So I'm going to stick a bone there so that we remember that while we're rolling for the wraith. Okay, so for the wraith, we have 1, 2, 3 bones pointing towards the wizard, 1 bone pointing toward the rogue, and 1 bone pointing toward death. So we ignore this bone because of the cat eater's defense, and we count 5, 10, 15, and 3 more. So that's 18 plus the attack of 4. So that's definitely going to score a hit on the cat eater. And for damage, we have the wizard sign down here. So this is a weak result, this one pointing towards death. So that's not going to deal any damage there. And if we look over here, this bone pointing toward the dragon, if we look at the wizard here and we find the warrior, we'd see 1 point. So the Wraith definitely managed to score a hit on the Cat Eater, but he only did 1 point of damage. The Cat Eater scored a 15 for its attack, so it definitely hit the Wraith, and it did 6 points. So this round of combat, the Cat Eater definitely managed to deal some severe damage and possibly kill the Wraith.